My peoples. Welcome to my Ambassador talk through video guide. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you in the video. As far as equipped gear, this is what my personal preset looks like. You can see I have a planted feet switch and Ring of Vigor equipped. That's because as soon as I get into the arena with the Ambassador, I use an ultimate ability and then I swap to my offhand and ring swap. Basically, bring the best gear you got. There are plenty other video guides on equipment, so I won't get into too much detail here. Okay, the inventory. So left to right, top to bottom. Purple, we have my damage swaps. That's weapons and bolts. Yellow square here, I have Quorum incense sticks. Now these aren't needed, but I consider it to be spoiling myself anytime I can remember to use these. They increase the effectiveness of your poison, which Ambassador himself cannot be poisoned, but there are spinners in the fight that can be poisoned, and the faster you kill them, the easier a kill goes. Next, for food, I have Sour Brew Flask 6 dose. I choose these so I don't lose adrenaline when spam eating. I like Blue Blubber Jellyfish, but I'm not good enough yet to make the best use of them. In the purple again, I got my Luck of the Doors for a better drop chance, and Ring of Death for more damage. In the orange square, I have an Adrenaline Urn. This helps stall adrenaline. It can store up to 1000% adrenaline. It cannot be bought though. It has to be a rare drop from Calgarian Demons. In the green, we have my potions. In order, they are Weapon Poison +++, Elder Overload, 2 Super Prayer Renewals, a Replenishment Potion for adrenaline, and a Potion of Vitality, which when you drink it, it doubles your current life points for 6 seconds, then goes on a 2-minute cooldown. This is very helpful for a panic button during the multiple mechanics that you have to get right in the fight or die and repeat. Finally, in the white, we have my buffs and debuffs. Left to right, Ancient Elven Ritual Shard for prayer, Enhanced Excalibur for extra HP, and Vuln Bombs to pretend I have decent damage. Feel free to plug and play however you like. This is not what you need to bring. Just bring what you have. Quick flash, I like to bring a Beast of Burden. This is what his inventory looks like. I use a yak. Psych. Alright, before we get to those rainbows, first, this is every ability you're going to need for this boss fight. This is it. What you need. From left to right, you have your prayers, you have your defensive abilities, and then you have your stuns. Now that's Devotion, Debilitate, Shield Swap, Resonance, Reflect, and then 2 stuns for melee and range. You have a basic stun and a threshold stun, both for melee and range. I don't really know about mage. I don't use mage. I apologize. If you don't notice, I'm about to change your life. Bottom right minimap, right click the globe, skybox filters. Under skybox tab, you can select different skyboxes. This is very helpful for the fight. Also, escape, settings, gameplay, camera, system, and then under camera mode, change it to Freedom Classic. It's what I use. Use Freedom or Freedom Classic. It's really helpful because, especially for this fight, because you can zoom all the way out. See this? You ever wonder how people do that? And then you can turn on your skybox filters and you can change these around. This is great for content creating and taking nice pictures. When you first start the fight, the Ambassador will launch a mage attack at a random player. If there are multiple players, it may not be you, so you can just go straight to prot range. But you want to start off prot mage because the big blue attack can hit for upwards 5k, if not. Other than that, you're going to stay prot range. Now for this first bit, we're just going to focus on overhead prayers. I'm going to resonance this attack instead of using prot mage. It's nice because it could save you food, or if you're lazy like me, or you're trying to use your planted feet switch. So every 5 auto attacks, the Ambassador is going to launch another one of those blue waves. Ignore all the other mechanics, we're just focusing on the overhead. See, I flick to mage for there. But now I'm back to range, I'm still on range. Alright, here comes another mage attack. Now back to range. And it's that simple throughout the entire fight. I need to be watching for this and making sure that I'm getting my prayer flicks on or swaps right, or resonancing these. Here's another one, because he will throw them at you while you're in the middle of doing mechanics, and that's what can make this boss fight stressful, because then out of nowhere you're like, oh crap, no health. And this is what the spinner phase looks like. This is the spinner phase. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're gonna back it up, and now we're gonna walk through these other mechanics. Started the fight, mage attack, but I'm going to resonance it instead. So I'm prot range, I'm attacking, and now the boss is going to put a fire on my head. I'll know this fire is on my head because I'll see the animation, and then there will be a blue progress bar underneath my health. See the blue progress bar? Now when this happens, you want to run to the edge of the arena and place the fire. The fire takes up a 3x3 square, so you want to try and keep it out of the way so you don't get caught up in mechanics. You don't want to hit this fire because when you first place it, it doesn't do a lot of damage. But after it's placed, if you run into it, it does like 2k damage per tick or something crazy like that. It's basically instant death, especially if you accidentally surge into it. Seen that happen a lot. So we're going to watch me place this. Now, I get greedy with it, and I wait until the last second to place my fire. If you're in a duo, you should not do this. If you're in a duo, as soon as you see the fire, the progress bar above your head, you should run off. You should run off and place it on the edge. Now the next mechanic is called black holes. This is what you're going to need your stun for. You can see one is popping up right here. And now when it does, all you want to do is click on it, wait on your character to turn and face it, and then you're going to use a stun. The reason I say that is because if you use your stun too quick, you may accidentally cast your stun on the ambassador and not the black hole, and then you're in trouble. And keep in mind, sometimes the stun can miss. That's why it's good to have a backup stun on the ready. And then you just jump back on the boss, and then he's going to throw another fire on your head. At the placement of the second fire, that means the spinner phase is going to begin. So remember, at the second fire, the spinner phase begins. Now I'm going to resonance this mage attack, and I'm going to position for the spinner phase. Now for the spinner phase, I like to go to the west side of the arena or west side of the ambassador, because the beams he makes is always in a peace sign. And the way I see this peace sign is I click on my compass on the top left of my minimap to center on north, and then you'll see right here that the beam comes out in a nice little peace sign. Try and peace you out the arena. And so this is where I do my swaps over to different bolts so I can get more adrenaline. And you want to make sure you're popping thresholds on these spinners, because how many ever spent, there's 6 of them total, and how many ever you don't destroy, each one is another 8k bomb attack that the ambassador is going to charge up against you. So ideally, in a duo or solo, you only want 2 or less spinners to be absorbed, ideally. I have higher tier gear, so it's a lot easier for me. But this just takes time and repetition is all this is. It's just time and repetition. I like range because I can move around while I'm doing this much easier. Now, you'll see that it says 1 fragment absorbed right here. So what this means is I'm going to keep my eye on the head of the boss. That means there's only going to be 1 explosion. And the way I could tell about these explosions is I'm going to keep my eye on the head of the boss. And I'm going to watch for that progress bar that appears. When that empties, the attack is going to come. To simplify all this, all you need to know is run to the edge of the arena, equip your shield, and pop resonance. And wait until the explosion is over. You'll know the explosion is over because the filter will change. Boom, explosion's over. Now I'll get back in melee range since only 1 fragment was absorbed, and I continue DPSing the boss. It's just a repeat of the introduction. See, there was his magic attack. Here comes the fire. Now I gotta place the fire, and then afterwards it's going to be black holes, and then it's gonna be another fire, and then the spinner phase. The whole time I'm prot range, watching for that blue wave to flick for mage. Now see here, I am ranged, so I can get away with since I'm solo, I can get away with placing the fire in this crappy position right here to save myself some DPS, so I'm not wasting the time of running to the edge of the map, placing the fire, waiting a second, and then coming back in to the boss. I don't have to waste my time with that because I'm ranged. Like, I'm not going to be walking through that fire. I mean, maybe I will, but who knows. So stun the portal, jump back on the boss. Here comes another fire. Once he drops that fire on my head, I know that when I'm done placing that fire, he's going to start the spinner phase. You start getting a hang of these things. Like, I also know that right around the time I place this fire, he's going to shoot a magic attack at me. So it helps me mentally prepare myself to resonance, at least for the first cycle. Okay, so here comes the spinner phase again. See the peace sign, and we just run through it. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward the clip to show you a different way to resonance this final attack. Alright, here we are. So basically there's 3 different ranges for this, and you want to be closer to the melee distance one. There's the range where I am, there's the outer ring, and then there's the melee distance. Now, if you're in the range where I am, it's essentially broken down into 2 sections. You want to be on the section closest to him. The closer you are, the better. The closer you are, the better for this way of resonancing his explosion. There's only 1 fragment absorbed, by the way. See, I run in close to go ahead and start putting all my damage on the boss, and then I zoom in to help me see this. What I am looking for is I'm looking for a hit splat to pop up on my character. As soon as I see that hit splat, I'm going to use resonance. I already have my shield equipped. I'm going to use resonance as soon as I see that hit splat, because that way my resonance will not be sniped by the auto attack. The hit splat is the auto attack. So watch for this. There's the hit splat, and then boom, there's the explosion. We're gonna back it up again. Watch for the hit splat, and as soon as I see the hit splat, then I'm going to resonance. Hit splat, resonance, absorb the explosion, and then it's just back on the boss. At 550,000 health, the boss phases over to the second half of the fight. You will know this because crabs will spawn, and he'll say you should surrender now. Keep in mind, you do still have to place fire mechanics. You do still have to stun portals. But other than that, there will be no more spinner phases, so no sweat once you hit 550k. That's the threshold. And once you get him down, Saryu will spawn. This is just breathing. All you got to do here is just breathe. Saryu will spawn, and when he does, he will kill all the crabs and give you a max health. He'll fill you back up on your health. I generally will safe because I bring a beast of burden for these, because I'm not pro. So I will save because I have plenty of food left over each time. But other than that, all you have to do is just stay focused, kill the boss. He'll keep spawning crabs, so if you take long to burn him down, you might end up dying just by the sheer amount of crabs that spawn. So don't take all the time. Alright, second phase. Again, this is the in between the phases. At 550k health, the ambassador will say you should surrender now. You'll also see the crabs spawn. Again, this phase is just all about breathing and not making a mistake, just minding. It's like an attrition war, minding your HP, minding your buffs, minding your prayer, watching for the dark holes. The placement of the fire, you still have to do that, but it's not that important because you're not going to be running the spinner phase or whatever, so like the fire won't necessarily be in your way. Because Saryu will come once you get the ambassador down to 400k, as you're about to see, and he will give you a free heal to max health, and then a few moments later, after you keep DPSing, he will clear out all the crabs. So that's why you don't want to completely take your time during this phase, because a lot of crabs can spawn. The ambassador runs through a little rotation, and at the end of that rotation he spawns more crabs. So like if you're going too slow, generally, like if you forget to renew your buffs, you'll be too slow, and a crap ton of crabs will spawn. Alright, so you see the filter change. Now we know we're in this final phase. This is the final phase. Ignore all that smoke you just saw, because that's just the beginning of it. But just know that this same smoke that you see, let me back it up, this smoke heals the ambassador. See all this white smoke? All of this white smoke right here? Right now it's kind of chaotic because it's coming from everywhere. But, and then you got this big old circle of hands right here. But after the big old wave like that, you're gonna see a hand slap the ground. Let's see if I can pause it. All right, here we go. See this hand right here? It just slapped the ground. Now the reason that's helpful is because what this means is wherever you see the impact, like right here, you want to stand between that impact and the ambassador. You want to stand between that impact right here and the ambassador, which I'm almost there. I just need to step up a tile. All right, so here's what I'm talking about. You see this little beam of smoke that's coming? This little beam of smoke, if that touches the ambassador, it heals him. So you just want to stand between the ambassador and that. And the catch to this, every like 3 to 5 seconds, a hand will slap, the next hand in rotation will slap the ground. Now it always goes clockwise. So this one slapped at first, so that means this one's gonna slap second, means this one's gonna slap third, fourth, etc. And it keeps on going the entire time. It never stops. It keeps on going until he dies. And yes, you still have to mind his auto attacks. Yes, you still have to mind that big blue wave. A lot of times I will miss this big blue wave. I'll just eat through it. That's why I like to bring my beast of burden. But there is 2 mechanics that happen. It's right here. Now, if you're in a group, he will call out who he's casting it on. But since I'm solo, obviously he's casting it on me. He'll call their name and he'll say fall now and be forgotten. But he's calling me out. And so what this means, for the first time you only have to press 2 buttons. And that is devotion and whatever button it is to swap to prot mage. That's all you have to do for the first one. It's that simple. Just don't panic. Block the smoke. Stay prot range, watch your prayer, pop thresholds when you can, and make sure you have at least 50 adrenaline for that devotion whenever that time comes. And here we'll see it. I'll swap to prot mage and devotion. And now the way I know that I'm good to swap back to prot range, if you swap off of this prot mage, you will instantly die. What's happening here is the ambassador is attacking you when the filter changes. See, it's blue now. What's happening is the ambassador is attacking. I think it's five quick rapid mage hits that all will hit you for 8k. You can resonance these, but I'm not that good yet. Like I don't do that. You can just use these methods I'm about to show you. The first one is just a simple 2-button trick: prot mage, pop devotion. And then you know to swap back to prot range, because you don't want to stay on prot mage the entire time, because then the boss's range auto attacks are going to kill you. You just want to stay prot mage while as long as this is going. A nice little way of doing this is why I like my filters, is because I will spam click whatever filter I want to use, and whenever the game lets me swap to that filter, I know the attack is over, because each attack changes the filter. So you can't technically change the filter earlier. I'm boring my son apparently. But so each attack changes the filter. So if you spam click your filter whenever you can successfully change it, you know the attack is over. You can also watch your character for the hit splats, and you'll see a bunch of the mage splats hit splatting because I use devotion. And this is exactly what you want to do. Again, devotion, prot mage. Whenever he says fall now, be forgotten, like, I'm gonna prop mage that. Like, get away from me with that voodoo. And the whole time you got to be rotating the smoke. It's okay if you let some smoke through. It's just gonna heal them. I think it's at like 2k per smoke or something like that. Sometimes it's weird, like you'll see the smoke is passing through me sometimes, even though it looks like I'm in the way, but I'm not, apparently. See, the hands are just slapping. This is just breathing. You just gotta breathe when you go through this. All right, see, he's saying it again. Helpful guy, fall now, be forgotten. Now, this is the tricky part. If you can get this down, you can get the kill. This is the hardest part of the second phase. It is the second time he does this. Now, you can't see it because I have it cropped out, but your devotion, if you watch your devotion cooldown, if you go into your settings and set it so the cooldown isn't just like a little icon, you have actual numbers for your countdown. Right before you hit 30 seconds, it's like 32 or 33 seconds on the cooldown of devotion, you know the next attack is coming, so you get to like pre-game a little bit. Like, so if you're watching your devotion cooldown, right when it's about halfway, devotion has a 60-second cooldown. So basically every 30 seconds, the ambassador is going to do this attack again. So that means every other attack you can use devotion, which is a 2-button combo to get you out of this. But when that is on cooldown, you now have to use reflect and debilitate. Now, debilitate does not require a shield, so I like to use debilitate first while I'm going through the animation of debilitate or waiting on like the global cooldown for debilitate to go off. And it gives me a little bit of breathing room, a couple ticks. I think it's like, what, 4 ticks of breathing room to remind myself to equip my shield and equip my main hand, because I like to swap between dual wield and two-hander. It reminds me to equip my main one hand and then my shield offhand. And then I reflect. I always make sure I have at least 50 adrenaline when I know this is coming, because I want to make sure I have enough to use the reflect, because reflect is a threshold. You not only need a shield for it, it is a threshold. That means you need 50% adrenaline for it as well. Now, as long as you remember to do this and swap to prop mage, so it's 3 buttons: debilitate, equip your shield, reflect. Debilitate, equip your shield, reflect. One more time: debilitate, equip your shield, and reflect, and then prop mage. So I guess it's 4 buttons. You got to make sure you prop mage too. I've done this plenty of times and forgot to prop mage and I still die. So you got to make sure you still prop mage, because it is magic attack. It is a magic attack. And if you have like enhanced devoted and that procs, that will also block all the magic attacks and they'll do no damage to you. Just a heads up. That's a perk. There's a perk you can put on your armor. You need invention for that. See, I'm not dodging that smoke because I'm panicking about this. See, the filter has changed. I'm spamming it. I could change it back. All right, I know the attack's over. I'm swapping back to prot range. The ambassador's fallen below 200k health, so technically I should swap my bolts, but I haven't yet. Just a little heads up, if you're DPSing and you use ruby bolts in range, when the boss gets really low in HP, you want to swap your bolts to increase your damage, because you actually lose damage. All right, so here it is again. Be forgotten. This time my devotion is ready, so it's just prop mage and use devotion, a 2-button combo. I don't need to equip and shield. I don't need to do any of that. You see, the boss is at 120k. I'm still rotating. I think this is probably the first time I made a full rotation. So you see how quickly this phase goes. It's just breathing, getting, as long as you are doing, as long as you're blocking these heal beams, you're going to kill the boss. Because he can't heal. He can only go down in health. Here it is again. Now I'm debilitate, equip shield, reflect, prop mage. You see all those hits coming up and splatting on me because my enhanced devoted popped. Then I change the filter. I know it's over. I'm on prot range. I'm blocking the beam. I'm just rotating him, trying to remind myself to equip my ring, my luck ring, and then we're gonna get the kill here. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy, but it's also easy to mess it up. So it just takes time and patience. Now I'm gonna use devotion, 2-button combo, devotion and prot mage. Very simple. I stay on prot mage because I see the blue wave coming. You can see the filter change. I'm back to prot range, and the boss is dead. He goes through this. Congratulations. I really hope this helps you get the kill.